Are we done? Are we out of pretzels?
It's gotta take a sip.
Is everybody ready?
Ready. Ready.
Yeah?
Ready.
Yeah?
Now it's garbage.
Just another movie night.
Hello and welcome to the show. I am Scott,
And I'm Joe.
and we're just another movie night, and we interrupt your usual talking trash for some talking furious. If you're new to this, we're interrupting our show to talk about the Fast and the Furious franchise. And the last 2 weeks, we've done the first two films, and we're in the third one. We're drifting into a whole new movie,
Oh,
Tokyo Drift.
drifting.
And the only way to do this is with family. And tonight, I'm joined by my Bad Movie Night family. To my side, I have Jeff,
Good evening.
Aaron,
Ohayo gozaimasu.
Gary,
Hey,
and Jared.
hello everybody.
And we're off to a hell of a start. Anybody drunk?
Yes.
Aye.
All right.
Banzai.
So luckily tonight we have 4 people who have not seen this film before. This is our first time. That would be me, Aaron,
Yeah.
Joe,
Yep.
Gary, and we have 2 experts. 2 people who have seen this movie probably way more times than they should.
I've only seen it once.
Okay, well that's okay. So this is your second time.
One too many.
Yes.
So, did you remember any of this?
It's been so long, I can't say that I have.
Yeah, Jared.
This is my third time seeing it actually all the way through, and I still remember some of it, but at the same time, it's no.
All right. So we're in for something. This is 2006's Tokyo Drift, directed by Justin Lin. We should know that name because this is the person who makes the franchise what it becomes. Because he's known for directing, and I have to read this list because these titles get insanely hard to remember. Fast and Furious, Fast 5, Fast and Furious 6, Fast 9, The Fast Saga. So yeah, this guy is basically takes over the whole franchise after this movie. And he starts directing all of these in a certain way where I think people started liking them more and more. Because this is the lowest watched movie that has the lowest gross. And shockingly, it's not the lowest rated on IMDb. That would still be Fast 2. So this one is actually more light than Fast 2. So how does everybody feel about that going around after watching Too Fast, Too Furious? I want to say Fast 2. This franchise's titles are insane. How does everybody feel going around the room?
I would rank this second behind Too Fast, Too Furious.
This is
Going from one being the worst of the 3 we've seen so far.
yeah. Aaron?
I actually thought this wasn't so bad. I really enjoyed it. It was kind of was like an anime. It was fun.
Joe?
There is no end to how much I hated this movie.
Whoa.
I fucking hated this movie. I hated it.
Well, we already knew that was how it was going to be.
Oh my god, I
Of
hated
all
it.
of this table, we knew that one person was going to despise it.
I hated it. I hated the main character. I hated the love
Okay.
interest.
Gary?
Compared to the last 2 movies, or compared to the last movie, Too Fast, Too Furious, this was okay. It was just okay.
All right, so in the ranking so far of the 3 that we've seen,
If we're going to rank it, I'm ranking it second overall.
okay. Jared?
If I had to rank it, I'm putting it last. I'm with Joe on this one.
Thank you.
This one is
I like the first one better than this.
What?
correct.
All right,
Yes, I
so
did.
No, I
Come on.
for
Yeah.
me so far of the first 3, I would put it at Too Fast, Too Furious is number 1 for me. then Fast and Furious, and then Tokyo Drift.
Thank you. That's my ranking too.
All right, so I am with Gary, I believe. I actually like the and Jeff.
And me. I agree
This
with
was the
all of
second
you.
best we've seen so far.
Yes.
I don't know what's wrong with y'all. Okay.
I actually think there was a half a good, really good movie in here and a half a bad movie.
These characters were awful.
I think it has the pressure of us dealing with established characters already. And when you have established characters, you expect to see him, and then you don't see him in this movie.
That's true.
And it still pulls it off. Where
Yeah.
it's like, you know what? It is better than a movie where we saw the first movie, Fast and Furious, where we've seen it somewhere down the line, and we know who all those actors are.
Yeah.
And in this movie, I didn't know these actors,
Yeah.
and I still found that it was more competent, way more competent than that first movie.
Okay.
I'm in shock right now by what I'm hearing. I gotta tell you, this movie, the main guy, he was just fucking awful. I mean, he was dreadful. There's no
disagree.
plot at all. It just made there's no rhyme or reason to any of this. It was ridiculous. I felt like everything was being shot on a green screen.
Oh, and it actually
Piece of
wasn't.
crap.
Fun fact. They did
I
a
don't
lot
know
of these
how.
stunts.
I mean, it's terrible. Terrible. I hated everything about it.
Wow.
Yep.
I'm shocked. Do you remember part one at this point?
You know what? I would rather sit through part one for another 3-4 times than watch this one again.
So
I
you're
did
all
not-
about the tuna shop.
I
and you're not
am.
about-
You know what? I'll take the tuna shop over this shit any day. I did not like this.
All right, let's before we go on any further about tearing this thing apart, let's do what we normally do and try to discuss this movie and what happens in it, and then along the way maybe we can talk about
I mean,
what we didn't like and what we did like.
is there a plot to talk out?
I think so, yeah.
There is a plot.
Okay, go ahead.
So
There's
I'm at it.
definitely a plot.
Yeah. So this movie opens up on a high school, and we see a kid who is clearly not 17 that he is playing in this movie.
He looks
He's
40.
24 while filming this film, and replaced Paul Walker because the studio said Paul Walker was too old for this franchise.
You are kidding me.
Yep.
Paul Walker looked at that time
Probably
5
younger.
years younger.
I
at
agree.
least.
I agree. So they replaced Paul Walker and decided to go a whole new direction. Because I think the last one didn't do good with money, so they figured, let's keep making this movie, but just ditch everything about it. Why not just call this something else? Why not just call this Tokyo Drift? Is beyond me. But yeah, we're in high school. This kid's getting checked at a metal detector that like 1,000 people are walking in. Only he's getting stopped with a mascot, and they get to stare at each other. You think this character's going to come back and be another character in the movie? Nope. We basically just have high school to be a montage of showing him. Basically, is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? In one of the parts of the montage, we also have that terrible 2000 rock like metal type thing that's playing over this opening credits, and the credits are in white font that aren't on white things, so you can hardly see half the names. And he basically, I think one of the there's bullies and they're pulling a kid in and they're in a shop class, of course, because this is Fast and the Furious. They're in a shop class fixing cars, and they're torturing this kid, these bullies. And so our lead is going to go help him, but decides they're only painting his belly.
Yeah, they're
So
actually
I'm not
spray
gonna
painting his belly, and you would think like this kid, like this main guy, he's gonna start out being like, you know, we're gonna like him right off the bat because he helps this poor helpless kid. No,
Yeah.
no, he just walks away.
Yeah, and that's
Well,
this
he
is
did think about it. He was like, shut up.
No, he looked, he saw what was going on, and he's like, fuck this kid. That's what
Well,
he did.
if we look what happened in the next few scenes, we learn that he's actually trying to stay out of trouble.
yes.
Because this is their third location they moved to, and in that non-verbal scene, we can say he's thinking about it just for that half second.
Yes.
And he goes away and it establishes for the audience, oh, he's a coward. He won't fight for the little guy. But we learn why.
And it's and it's also him judging. Should I help this kid or should I not? You kind of establish right off the bat this guy is going to stand up to bullies, but also, maybe back off if it's little. So the next scene basically is him backing off for a little bit with
Jared and I are on the same page. We're on the same.
this is actually good character development right off the bat to establish this character.
He doesn't care about the guy getting beat on and getting.
He's not getting
abused
beat on. They're
or
doing
whatever.
something to him, but they're not
Yes.
beating him.
But
so that he decided not to help him because
He wants
he
to
might
get
get
into
moved
trouble.
again. Yeah.
Okay, he wants to get into trouble, but he doesn't have any problems drag racing on a freaking road. Okay.
We can talk about that. And I'm telling you,
Okay.
there's a 50-50.
It makes no
They were
sense.
just decorating his stomach.
Yes.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. He's being abused.
All
he doesn't
men have
like it.
decorated each other's stomachs at least
Well,
once.
the kid clearly wasn't having a good time. Okay.
It all would have been avoided if the teacher was awake.
Yeah, the teacher was sleeping? Yeah, that's right.
He
I
was.
forgot.
Well, to Gary's point, yes, we don't know that this guy is trying to get in trouble, but what happens next? We see him trying to get in trouble.
No.
mean,
I
yeah.
would disagree with that because
No, because he starts talking with this girl that, apparently is with...
But-
a girl talked to him first and he
But-
talked back.
okay, but
This-
then
okay.
he wants to race.
Look,
so if
let's-
you're trying to
Not
stay out of
really.
trouble, you're
He
going to stay out
started
of
to
trouble.
go away. He started to drive away, and the guy was like,
Well,
the
let's back it up.
Okay,
Let's back it up.
backing
Let's
it
back it
up.
up. So he's going out to his car in his school. He's going out to his car, and when he gets to his car, he's. Anybody want to talk about cars? You guys are good with this stuff. I don't know what kind of car he is driving. No one knows. So,
I believe it was a Chevy Malibu.
oh, okay. So he gets to his car, and there's a girl sitting in her car painting her toenails, showing off her legs and crotch as much as possible. And she calls to him, basically says, "Hey, I like your ride." And he says, "Oh,
Something about it's all about the
oh
rider.
no." He says, "The ride." He's like, it helps me with work." And she says, "What's that? Delivering pizzas?" And then
yeah.
he goes, "It's not the ride, it's the rider." And she's like, "Damn."
Oh my god.
So that's
bad.
when one of the two sons from Home Improvement comes out.
The older one.
Yeah.
Zachary
Oh, one of the
Ty.
3 sons. Thank you. There's one that no one cares about.
The little one.
Yeah, the little one.
So sad.
So sad. He comes out. He's a football player, of course, and the football players are always douchebags, and it's always a thing in stereotypical damn movies. So he comes out and he sees this guy talking to his girl and says, "Hey, man, you talking to my girl?" Of course. Now she was talking to him, so he was only talking back. So he says, "Yeah, I'm talking to her. She asked me about my ride." And he's like, "That piece of shit?" And he's like, "Whatever. I like your car too. Would your daddy get it?" And then he gets in his car to drive away. And that's when the kid throws a baseball through his window. Mm-hmm. Now, look, I'm sorry, guys. I will drive away too. But when someone throws a baseball through my window, you're getting beat.
Yeah.
That's
He gets
right.
out of his car and he gets an entire line of the football team. And somehow, he's a magician. It doesn't come back, but he's a magician because a socket wrench falls from nowhere into his hand.
Yeah.
It looks like it's coming out of his sleeve, but he doesn't have long sleeves. So it fell out of his armpit,
Yeah.
and they all see it and they
is
back
bizarre.
up. So they say, "Hey," well, he's like, "Let's race this out." And he says, "I only race for pink slips." And he says, "My car's worth more than your car. Are you kidding me?" And then that's when the girlfriend, because this is a theme with this movie, that's a shit theme, is women get guys in trouble. And
Yeah.
that's the whole point of this fucking
Bitches,
movie.
man. Bitches.
And this girl says, "Well, you can race for my pink slip." I don't think she said that, but that's what
We all
happens.
thought of it.
So they have a race. And I got to tell you, this race is really cool.
I agree. 100%.
This is well filmed, it's well shot, and it's pretty neat.
Imagine seeing 2 cars race without all that CGI.
Yes.
The neon lights, although they did it better in Too Fast, Too Furious. But it looked natural,
It
and
looked
you can
na-
follow
yes.
along and see what's going on.
Yes. And it's well filmed, and the stunt work is great. So, to me, now, look, hey, we got 2 people making stink faces right now, which is a theme in this movie as well. Everybody making shit faces. We got 2 right now making shit faces right over here. And I'm going to tell you, they're making shit faces for no apparent reason
No,
right now.
oh, I have
They
a
were into
reason.
to call out the bully stuff.
That was fucking cartoony. Okay, it was.
It was
like,
not.
Yes,
No.
it
Do you
was.
remember how
It was
bad one was?
cartoony.
First one.
One looked like a Looney Tunes.
Yes,
It was
it did.
awful. This is what I felt. felt like I was watching Looney Tunes in this one too.
No.
No.
Ridiculous.
Are you
They
talking
were
about the
all
end?
in
We're talking about
sync.
one scene at a time here.
It doesn't matter. They're all the same.
No, I-
No,
Disagree.
no.
Disagree. Totally.
the very first race. No, it's a good race.
Yeah.
There's no CG at all
Yeah.
that goes into it. It's a pure out street race.
Yes.
And yes, it's done very well. And basically from the rest of it, yeah, it's totally different. So
Yes, and the movie completely shifts.
It really
Shifts
did.
here. I didn't want to say it. But yeah,
It
so
drifted somewhere else.
this car chase ends in a terrible crash where everybody should be dead.
Yeah.
Now they were racing around a construction, like a whole, like a community construction site.
Yeah, like
So they
brand
were
new builds and stuff like
brand new builds, and they crash through it all. And at the end, their cars totally get demolished, and they survive. And I actually think this is a pretty funny scene where the three of them are sitting next to each other in the police station, and he still looks at the girl with bloody teeth and smiles at her. And I thought,
And winks.
I like this character. I just automatically was like, I think I like this character. He's funny, and he's kind of relatable. He's like, I'm not going to back down, and I'm also still going to be funny about everything that's happened to me. So I automatically liked it. Now, do I like the cop that comes into this sequence?
No.
Especially since he gets in his face and basically comes on to him heavily. He basically
It
gets
seems
right
like
up on him.
nobody
He's
in
like,
this movie has any like regard for personal space. Like everybody is in
Yes.
your personal airspace, like nose to nose. It's almost like
Aggro.
It's disgusting. I don't know. I don't like anyone in my face. Like
And I like this scene because if we all remember what the characters did after the crash, they're all three are at the hospital or the police station.
It's a police station.
Okay, and we see how the girl reacts to this boy racing for her.
Yeah.
And she enjoys it. It will exactly mirror later on in the movie,
Yeah.
where we have our setup, but one thing changes.
Yeah. And I agree. The thing that is different here, well, in the opening, the girl who is asking these two guys to race for her is basically like, I need you to win. You're supposed to look good for me. Don't you love me? And all that stuff. She's a real piece of garbage. And causes this shit show. Well, the cops basically tell the main character, played by Lucas Black, right? From, I said Sling Blade and you said...
Friday Night
Friday Night
Lights. Yeah.
Yeah. So he is doing some Southern fried. I don't know what's going on with it. I don't know if this actor actually talks like this or if this is.
nobody talks like this.
No, yes, he does talk.
This
like
is
this.
his
There's
real
no
voice.
free-
If you remember
way.
him from Sling Blade,
He has
yes,
the same-
he
yeah.
has the same draw to it.
Yeah.
Well, I grew up outdoors. Basically, grew up at Lewis Smith Lake there in Winston County, and I grew up in Lawrence County, but it was 30 minutes from the house, hunting and fishing and camping, and I've been blessed at especially on this role too. I feel like my character, I get to portray a Southern gentleman and the Southern hospitality that we in Alabama try to live up to.
I was going to say, did he look at Devil's Advocate, Keanu Reeves, and decide to copy his Gainesville, Florida
Nobody thinks that is
accent?
Keanu Reeves, man, in that movie. Oof.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I know you've spent all morning listening to Mr. Broigo talk. I know you're hungry. What I need to tell you won't take very long at all.
So yeah, Lucas Black, he's doing a whole Southern accent, and we find out that because of the scene, he has been moved 3 times because he keeps getting in trouble. He's got a pretty much like a deadbeat mom who she comes in, she automatically starts flirting with the cop in front of him, and he looks out the window and sees the parents of the other kids helping their kids and hugging them and worried about them. And he basically is kind of like, I don't have that. Now, you think that's going to be a bigger theme in this movie, but it really doesn't matter. Yeah, it really doesn't matter because he's not really about family. That is a theme in this franchise, and at least they're doing it a little
I
bit.
said it 3 times total in the 3
This is-
movies that we watched.
Well, this movie only has 1, and it's a big moment. We'll get to that. So So he's basically told you only have one option. You're going to go to jail. You're going to go to juvie. They're going to put you in jail because they're going to treat you not like a minor. They're going to treat you like an adult, and you're going to get slapped into jail. And you have one option, and that option's to go live with his father in Tokyo. And that's where the name comes in. He is shipped off to Tokyo to go live with his father, who's a Navy. I think he works in the Navy. I think he has Navy.
Yeah, he's in the military.
Yeah. Military?
Yeah, I'm not sure which one, but he is in the military.
Okay, I thought it said Navy. I couldn't tell. Yeah. So he gets there. He gets to the house. No one picks him up at the airport. He got to figure out his way there. He gets there and he gets put into a closet. That's
The
his
whole
room.
place is a fucking closet.
Yeah.
Like, where does this guy even live? There's just shit everywhere.
And his dad also has a prostitute.
Yeah.
And
Like, right
off
when he
the bat,
arrives, it's like, oh,
we got deadbeat parents.
there's a hookup.
Please wait outside while I get my hooker out.
Yes, he's like, can you give me a moment here? The hooker comes out and she actually makes a face like she did something awful.
Yeah.
Did you see that face that she made?
Well, I mean, she's probably not proud of what she just did.
And I initially thought he was prepared for his son to arrive because he has his school clothes and everything prepared in the next scene or the next morning.
Well, he was
he does
supposed
explain
to
that.
arrive earlier than or later than he did.
He
like
says-
a day late.
No, he said that the time is different, and I thought you were going to come into Southern time.
Yeah, he said he was supposed to show up on the 7th, but because they're a day ahead,
Yes.
something. Yeah, I
was
didn't
like,
quite
I'm
understand
expecting you
that.
tomorrow.
You mean the 7th in Japan or the 7th in America?
I didn't understand that
Yeah,
either.
it
That makes
doesn't
no
matter.
sense.
He's
Time
like
zone
the
doesn't make
worst.
sense.
He's like the worst father.
I also have a friend who was getting laid one time and left me at the airport, so I know how this feels.
We're
so-
not talking about anyone in this room.
No,
are
I'm
we?
just saying there was a friend I knew
Oh,
once who
okay.
left me at the airport. I understand how this
What
goes.
a
Yeah.
When you gotta get the
horrible
hooker
friend.
out, when you gotta get the hooker out, leave your son or your friend at the airport.
So for
Yeah.
fans of the movie, this movie properly introduces daylight savings to everybody.
Yes,
Yep. yep.
because for the next scene, that's important.
That's true.
Where we are now is that he gets his clothing. This is a horrible. He's living in a closet.
It's like not even a closet.
He opens the window and there's a woman eating ramen staring at
Oh
him.
my god, it's just so.
They're face to face,
I mean, she looked nice and she waved.
and the ramen looked good.
I know. So I was like,
So
bring some of
yeah,
that over.
of course, because of the time difference, and he gets up late, and he gets to school late because he can't get on the right train. He speaks some Japanese. There's an argument here that he doesn't speak, but he does speak a little Japanese in these scenes.
And where does he learn this?
I don't
Anime.
know.
Where? In Alabama?
He took the Babbel app.
Are
I
you
don't,
kidding?
I don't
Give me a
know.
break. How does he?
They had flip phones. There was no Babbel.
And we're not sponsored by Babbel, but Babbel, if you want to sponsor us. What year do you guys think this is taking place?
2005?
No, 1995.
No.
1995 because that goddamn Josh Hartnett haircut.
Well, you know that's not true because of the phones. But
They had
Well,
flip phones.
what year do you think this is taking place?
Later on, they have a argument over an iPod, and no one past 2010 is battling over an iPod.
Agreed.
So that should definitely date this movie.
The flip phones too.
Flip phones too.
The flip phones are very heavy in this film, and it basically should. And also, did you see the laptops?
Oh god, those
Yes.
things were huge.
They were giant, and I was trying to figure out like what year this is supposed to take place, and I know this answer. So I know this movie was filmed in 2006 and was released in the theater in 2006, but the year the movie's taking place is 2013.
What?
What?
We'll get into that
What?
You're
next
kidding.
next episode.
Then how
The
come
future.
every...
It makes sense then. All the cars, they're 2003 versions of themselves. So that's why they can afford all these cars and have
Yes.
multiples of them.
Yes. So
my God.
he goes to school, and then when he walks into this classroom, there's
Vin's here.
Vince here.
Vin's here.
Vince here.
He's come to see his family.
I'm talking about my family. He gets in this classroom. He looks down in the classroom, and he only sees one thing. One thing only. And this woman named Neela is staring back at him. Eyes to eyes. That's it.
I mean,
That's
she-
all it takes. I'm
She's a hoe from
invested.
minute one. From minute one, she's a hoe. Because she has a man, and she's giving him the sexy bedroom eyes.
She was just
And now-
smiling.
No.
Wait,
Yeah,
she
yeah,
just
yeah.
wait for it, guys. And now, Joe's trash talking women segment. Go.
I don't like Mila because she a hoe. And she is dating one of the...
Well,
Can I say it?
don't you want to like get to it?
Yeah.
Fine.
You want to talk in order here?
I
Or you
don't,
want to talk in
I don't
order?
like the women in the Fast and the Furious. I like Letty. That's it.
Before you continue, if you have a boyfriend or husband, should you ever look another man in the eyes?
What? Yes, you idiot. I'm married and I'm looking at you.
We are not
I'm
looking,
looking
at
at Jeff and I'm
Yeah, he's
looking
not
at Jeff.
looking.
Jeff,
We are
I'm
not
looking in
looking
your
at that.
eyeballs, Jeff.
His eyes are over here, not on you.
What the I can't look at it.
I'm
She's a
looking
hoe.
towards your husband.
No, this
I'm
is
looking
different.
for approval.
No.
Wait a minute. So you just called yourself a hoe
No.
because you looked at Gary in the eyes?
No, it was I didn't give bedroom eyes. Like she's doing the whole hair thing and she's swiping her hair to the side. Girly
that
thing.
happened.
Yes, she
That doesn't
did.
happen.
Yes,
He walks
she is
in,
like so.
She gives him a little smile because he's the only white guy in the classroom.
No, she's undressing him with her eyes.
Oh, so she's racist. Okay.
Maybe.
Well, then she is a hoe.
First of all, she's not even Japanese, so she can't say anything
Yes.
about anyone
She's
else.
not Japanese, and it looks like maybe that's the only two reasons why these two people see each other,
Mm-hmm.
because they go, "Oh, not Japanese people. We have a connection."
We're gonna watch that scene again, and I want you to tell
I'm-
me again.
Unfortunately,
She
I
is
will probably have to
totally-
watch some of this just to see if any of you are right
Oh
or
no!
wrong. in
Watch,
this
watch
sequence.
how she's like totally undressing him with her eyes in that scene.
Well, they look at each other. He shares a Kentucky Fried Smile, and he's very cute. And he's like, "Hey," and so he sits in the classroom. And then cut to lunch, where we meet a new character, Bow Wow,
Little Bow Wow.
little Bow Wow.
Well, they just call him Bow Wow in the
It
credits.
did.
Oh.
For a
Twinkie.
second, I thought it was Ja Rule, but obviously,
That would have been amazing.
due to the
that should have been
resemblance.
the connection. That should have came back. Yeah, this character's name is Twinkie. I don't even know if anybody here knew that, except me.
I do.
Yes.
I remember his name is Twinkie.
Okay.
Yeah, the sad part about it is Sean or Lucas Black keeps calling him Twink.
Twink. Yeah, this is a guy who is very typical. He is selling everything out of a backpack, and he has everything. He's the red character in Shawshank Redemption. This is a stereotype, unfortunately. I mean, it is a weak thing, and this character is written very weakly. He basically is just there to push plot. Yeah, and it's sad because he does not do fucking anything in this film.
No.
Would you buy anything that he sold?
He had some badass Air Jordans. I gotta tell you that I was trying to date those, but I couldn't tell. Those are nice looking.
They're red.
Because they're in Japan, how hot are these hot items? Because
Yes.
they're in the country that's making the. Well, I don't know if it's Nike, Nike's made in Japan specifically, but a lot of these electronic devices back then, they're made in Japan. So, is there a lot of hot merchandise?
Apparently. I mean, I don't know if it's VHS recorders. It's coming back, guys.
Media players all around.
Media players all around. We've moved on from VHS players. We got hot iPods and shuffles and Zooms.
Oh, I'm sure because we're in Japan, they have Blu-ray players ready.
That's true. That's true. And he says he can't get any of this merchandise. You got to get it. This is one of a kind, one of a kind. And he tries to sell Lucas Black, our main character, what is his name? Does anybody know what is the main character's name?
Sean.
Sean.
Oh.
Thank
I
you.
didn't know that.
I didn't know
did
that
not know
either.
it I knew Twink more than I did Sean. So yeah, Sean. He's trying to automatically get Sean with all this merch because characters have to meet each other. He says he came up to him because they're army brats, and he says that's not true. I'm not an army brat. But Bow Wow is Twink, and he's trying to sell all his stuff. And he sees on the back of his backpack he's got a steering wheel. I don't know why he's carrying a steering wheel, but
Well,
it's only
Then
so
it goes to his car.
it's.
That's what he
Who
said.
the fuck takes their steering wheel
Well,
off?
Twink does. Because
Twink
it said
does,
it goes to his
and,
car.
And you know why? So he can say, what kind of car are you driving? So we can push the plot forward. So he goes to go find his car, and I gotta tell you, I
It was
fucking
cool.
love this garage.
It was cool.
There's basically like one of those like slot machines, like
Yeah.
bring cars out, and they keep going by And he's like, I have a special car, a one-of-a-kind car. So they're waiting, and all these beautiful cars are going by. And he's like, this one? No. Then finally, the Hulk smash car comes down.
Nothing about this
Does
character
anybody
makes
talk
any
about this
sense.
car?
I first thought it was the Incredible Bulk.
Oh my god!
And I saw the Jeff's eyes open up wide in
Oh
excitement.
my god. Yeah, it even has a brow.
A unibrow.
A unibrow across the top.
It
It
looks
has
like
fists, Hulk smash fists all over it. It is a bright neon green.
it's got
What kind of
purple-
car is it? It's a
got
weird car too.
purple interior too.
It's a Volkswagen Touran. It's not made here. Of course, it's made everywhere else. But
In 2013.
well, this is well, it's supposed to be 2006. So maybe they made it for 2013. Maybe it was a prototype.
I'm just asking if it was a yeah. So that's the car.
Is
Yeah.
this the same company that will make the Hulk movie in the next couple years?
Oh, is this?
Is it promotional?
No, this is
No?
Warner Brothers, right?
Let me
Oh, it might be Universal, because you
Universal.
said that you saw this car at the Universal.
Oh,
I believe
yeah,
when
yeah,
the
yeah.
Hulk ride was around at Universal, it's still there.
So yeah,
that car was actually parked around the entrance of that.
Universal
of the
and
ride.
Marvel had a part together. Universal Studios had some properties.
Right,
They had
back
the Hulk
then.
back then.
Back then, they still had that. That's why they still
That's
had
true.
the Superman ride still there. Whenever they went to,
Superman.
I'm sorry, Spider-Man.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Sorry,
I was gonna say that. I think that's
yeah.
And Doctor Doom, they have all the
Yeah,
whole
the
Marvel
Fantastic
area. They're
Four
like,
and
we're gonna keep
X-Men.
the rights to it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, they held on to it for a very long time.
and then in regular Universal, they do have the Fast and Furious ride. So
They
that's
do.
why I'm like, was it a little promotional?
Yeah.
What a
you're right.
fun ride.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We should go back to that for this.
Had no idea what
Talk
was
about the plot
going
of that.
on.
So yeah. So this is where we basically now go to a special garage, and we get plot. This is the story. From here on, this is where everything happens that we need to know. This garage is incredible. It's a secret garage club where everybody parks their cars and has a rave, but also do something special. They drift.
Oh my god.
They drift the shit out of this garage.
Pan
That's what
just
they
does
do.
things better. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
say it. They
Uh,
do things better. The
basically,
music,
that's-
the people, the
I will say
hoes,
this:
a lot of good stuff.
the music in the opening was all Kid Rock and Limp
It was
Bizkit,
trash.
and then it changed to Japanese music, and I liked it a lot fucking better.
Me too.
I was like, oh, thank God! Like this is at least fun now. Even the score got interesting, which I thought was a ripoff of AC/DC, but you guys told me it was not AC/DC. I thought it totally was an instrumental AC/DC song, but no one said. No, one said
I
it
didn't
was.
hear it at all.
Okay.
sorry.
All right, that's weird. I gotta listen to it again. I gotta hear it if it is. No one's got anything on that?
No.
No, I
No.
mean like that was when
I
he
checked
was,
you
like,
all out on that.
I mean, he was coming in from like the airport, well, coming out of the
and I
airport,
played
and
this
like
music.
they played that music, and so I mean, like it sounded familiar. I just didn't know what it was.
Yeah. So yeah, in this garage, this is where we get everybody, the characters. He basically walks around the garage. He sees all these women, but of course, there's only one woman that catches his eye, and it's the girl from class, Mila, or as he says it, Mila.
I mean,
Couldn't understand what he was saying. We kept saying, "Is it what is Mila? What is this? What's her
she's
name?"
so extra. I can't.
So
take
she
her.
drives, of course, drives a nice car.
We talked about it before, like why, or while we were watching the movie, why would he be in love with her like right away? And I've had instances where you're the only foreigner walking into a room and you see another foreigner,
Okay.
and you just kind of stand out for some reason. There's an attraction, or there's a connection, being oh we're different, and that's for that instance I can understand, I can see why, and while there are other hundreds of other women there, I think that's the one thing they have in common, that they're outsiders,
Yeah.
and
And it just so happens that she's into cars, that he's into.
she is
Everything's coming together.
they call it a draft bitch.
A draft.
A draft bitch?
You mean the drift bitch?
I like draft
I
bitch.
don't
like
even know. I
draft
like draft
bitch.
bitch.
I like draft bitch. She's drafty because she's half naked half the time.
Yeah. And of course she's a boss. And
Well, we do find out the reason why.
yeah, she pulls up. Of course, he goes over to flirt with her about her engine. And
Tiny little engine.
yeah, he's like, "Oh, you could have had a V8." Am I right with this line?
Yeah, that's
And,
correct.
and
yeah.
she gets, "Oh yeah, men in your engines." He's like, "It's in our DNA."
I mean,
It's not in my DNA, so I'm fine. I was born wrong.
For
Apparently,
somebody that says they really
Extra.
like this movie, you're really making fun of the lead.
I'm old.
Yeah,
Look,
for real.
this boils down to talking trash. I'm going to trash
It's
this
just-
film.
yeah.
I know that there's problems
It's already
with it,
talking
and
trash.
I'm not going to lie about it. But I also kind of enjoyed it. And let's face facts, guys. We watch a lot of bad movies. Like I said, I think on the last episode we talked about, we've seen close to 500 films together,
Jeez, yeah.
and they have been the bottom of the barrel garbage. This is not that bad in comparison. So we'll get back to that. We'll get back. So yeah, it's V8 engines and guys with big engines got a lot of envy, and so of course because they're talking, by the way, she also puts her ass almost against him to shut the car hood, and it's very flirtatious.
She's a hoe.
And of course, across the way is a bunch of people who live in the area who are sitting against their car, staring at them. We got one guy eating, who is fan favorite Han.
Yeah,
Eating
enter Han. I mean,
some-
he should have
some
bigger.
But there's another guy with a bunch of women. Now he's surrounded by women, and he's having a good time until he sees someone talking to his woman. These other women around him. He's a good guy though, right? He cares about this girl.
other
Yeah.
beautiful girls around him.
So he sees that, and he's like, "Fuck that crap! I got to go over there and mess with this guy." So this guy gets right in his face. This guy's name is DK, Donkey Kong.
It's not Ricky Tran.
It's not Ricky Tran. No Ricky Trans here. And he's also got a sidekick whose name, I believe, is Motorola. Is that correct, guys?
No.
Or
What?
Miyamoto?
Miyamoto. that's what it
Okay.
is, yeah.
I thought it was Motorola. I was like, Motorola. DK.
Morimoto.
Morimoto.
No. Okay.
Okay, so Maury Povich and DK walk over. They have a whole gang. They walk over to confront this guy for talking to his woman. Bow Wow jumps over and says, "That's the Yakuza. Get the fuck out of here."
Of course, it's
back
the
out.
Yakuza. Of course, it is.
But of course, our main character, Sean, needs to get laid. And so he's like, "Fuck the Yakuza. I will burn the world for my penis to get love."
Wow.
I mean, it just boils down to terrible
mean-
writing, but whatever.
Jared, are you here with me? Are you on this plane of existence? This man
anybody
that
who-
I am married to is literally destroying the film, and
That
he
guy's-
said he likes this film.
And he enjoyed it. I don't
I don't understand.
Three.
But
Okay,
it
my
was
three buddies.
fun.
My three buddies. Do you
Yeah.
agree that these are problems, but they're still fun?
There are lots of problems in this movie. It's still okay.
Yeah.
It's still
And we're going to
fun.
point out things that have gone wrong. We're not going to be like, this is a masterpiece next to Godfather 2.
I feel like I'm on
Thank you.
acid. I
Wow.
don't understand what's wrong with any of you. This movie is freaking trash. It's awful.
That's ridiculous. So what
No,
are you
it
gonna
is
say,
not.
Jeff?
Listen to what you're
There-
saying.
There's some plot holes to this movie, but
Yeah.
they're not as many plot holes as the Fast and Furious.
Fast and Furious
Oh,
1
God,
had
no.
some of the
Yes,
worst
I can't.
plot I've ever seen. They were stealing
100%.
VHS recorders. Well, let's not go over it
What
again.
Bow
We
Wow
did a
is
whole
supposed to
episode
be?
and trying
Okay,
to figure
first
it
of all,
out.
let's just rewind, sir, and go back to Bow Wow. Okay,
Yeah.
he's a number one in
Twink.
army. Okay, Twink. He's an army
Be-
brat.
say his
Okay,
name right.
he's
Give
an
love.
army brat, and he's taken to fencing stolen goods, and he can somehow, by selling
Unfortunately.
shitty goods, to strangers, that he can afford that car that he's driving around, and that's completely ridiculous. That car literally probably cost him $1 million to soup up like that.
That's good. We're talking
Where
about that
the
because we can talk
fuck
about
is
the next
Bow Wow
insanity.
on this earth? Okay, literally, he's fencing stolen iPods, and you're gonna get the money you need. I mean, he's an army brat. Are you?
I actually can
kidding?
explain this.
Please do.
He's tight with Han. That's the plot.
Give me a break,
And
please.
he's fencing goods for Han.
First of all, Han doesn't even act like he's anything big in this movie. Okay, he doesn't. He's just like he doesn't do anything.
Well, let's get to it.
He's got the confidence. Like, he doesn't have to say anything. He's Han.
Aaron, can you do the backup noise again? Okay, so here we are,
Reverse
back to Hans. The group is walking over the Yakuza. They get face to face. Of course, Sean can't back down. He's gotta step up. he's got to step because it's drifting time. Now, he doesn't know what the hell it is, and I got to tell you, when he said it, I thought he said drip. He said, what is dripping? And Bow Wow was like, drifting, man. Drifting, this is what we do here. Now, the whole plot here is that this movie is called Tokyo Drift for a reason, because they drive around a parking garage drifting. And does anybody want to talk about drifting
What
here
the
to
fuck is the
explain
point
this
of
stuff?
drifting? Can someone explain it to me? It's so stupid.
It's to drive fast and not stop.
Well, I
Turning
mean,
corners.
I mean,
feel
like
like
if
that
you
was
go
a-
if you go straight, you can't stop. So
Okay, I can tell you single-handedly that I drive
It's
fast
turning
going
corners.
in my work parking garage pretty fast, and I hit those corners
Yeah.
pretty fast
She
without
hits them,
drifting.
all right. She's had a lot of dents
I
and a lot of
don't
bruises.
drift in a
Hello,
fucking
you
Steve.
just
parking
got that
garage.
car.
This is so stupid.
So,
I mean, drifting is like,
Yes.
I guess it's a part of like their culture. Like they're driving down mountains, and so you have to kind of
I don't think it's any culture.
Yeah, it is. There's mountains.
I think it's
involved.
just about
It's cool.
drag racing, but turning corners. It's turning corners quick, right?
It's just a very elaborate way to really turn corners. It's very showy, flashy. Is it very quick on these types of courses? Yes, it is. But
Yeah.
for practical purposes, it's not. But it's basically just for show.
Basically, what we were talking about is destroy your tires.
So it's
Yeah.
just to be a douchebag, is that's what you're saying? Drifting is for douches.
Well, I mean, that's if you
cool
boil down
douchebag.
car
I
racing
have
in
to
general.
ruin my car and, show myself up for the ladies at the same time.
I mean,
So-
I can ruin my car without
I mean-
showing off for anybody. I just take an accident bump
Ding,
to
ding,
the.
Last week when we talked about Gran Turismo, different car games,
Mm-hmm.
I would never join the drifting side of it because drifting was an art form, very hard to pull off.
It's very hard to pull off, and I gotta tell you,
I stuck to American muscle cars. I'll go really fast and
Yeah.
hopefully I'll hit the brakes and hopefully not lose my direction.
Mm-hmm.
But drifting, I never mastered it, and it's the coolest thing ever.
and I gotta tell you, I'm not a car person. I don't like this kind of stuff. I'm not a big fan of people trying to kill each other in weird ways. I don't really get it, but this was really neat. And I thought the scene was really neat. And I thought the stunt work was incredible because they're obviously doing it, the stunts. And I heard
Yeah.
what I looked at was they really did it. And it looks great.
The final drift to the top of the parking lot, that scene for 15 seconds, how amazing was that?
Yeah, it was awesome.
You're like, holy crap.
Holy shit. I kept saying, I was like, holy shit.
Tomorrow I
this is
start
intense.
drifting school.
You sold me, guys. You sold me. Yeah, I agree. I actually thought this was well shot. I thought it was well done, and I thought it was tense. There's a joke on Amazon. It actually said one of the genres of this movie was nail biting, and I was like, it's kind of
get it.
tense, kind of
Yeah.
cool, little neat little scenes.
I was more concerned for Tyrese in the last one. I did not bite my nails through this movie. I thought this movie was goofy as hell. That's my take on it. I'll see myself out.
So for the three movies we've seen, where I felt one of the main characters were always the vehicles, I felt in this movie the cars were supporting characters. And I
Yeah,
felt I was
that's true.
focused on the characters and less on the cars. And when they got into the cars, it was special.
Yes.
It made me sit there and notice what they're doing.
You know what I also like too is that the plot of this movie is simple. It's very simple. It has a plot and it gets to the end. Where the other ones feel like they have to either be Ocean's movies or a convoluted heist, friendship, family montage. The first one was a fucking mess. The second one was Ocean's 11 with cars or Italian Job ripoff. And the third one is a straightforward kid getting caught up with a girl type thing. The romance should have been better. Yeah. So look, the romance here is basically they got to drift for this girl virtually. Don't talk to my girl. I'll challenge you to a race because everybody challenges everybody to a race. This is Fast and the Furious, and of course Sean doesn't know how to race. But the best part of this is he's just given a car.
Yeah.
And he trashes the shit, and I wanted to cry every time this thing hit something. And he loses shamefully. Everybody laughs at him. And when he goes to school the next morning, everybody's laughing at him because everybody was drifting.
I just
Everybody's
don't
there.
understand, like, who would just, like, hey, I just met you. Here's my car. Go
Well,
ahead and try and drift.
We
like,
do find this out. They do explain it.
so crazy.
It turns out Han fronted the car to him, right?
Right.
Yeah, and that's because basically Han wants another goon for himself, another person on his crew, and he sees something in this kid because he knows he can race. Apparently, I don't know why, because this is the first time he's ever seen him.
Yeah.
Apparently, he has some experience with Caucasians driving.
Yes, that is true. He has a lot of Caucasian friends.
Caucasian?
Did I say Caucasians?
Caucasian.
Look, I don't. Oh God, I have been drinking. Let's be fair. Okay, so, all right, yeah. So that's basically what happens. But the problem is here, when he loses and then he goes to school, his father can smell the driving on him. You know, some fathers, some
Smell
parents,
that Motorola.
some parents can smell the drinking. This guy smells the driving.
Smell the
It doesn't even take one
stank of the
day.
leather on you.
Basically, his father told him, don't drive. If you get kicked, if you do it one more time, if you get thrown out one more time, you're out of this house. And you're on your own, and you're going to go to jail. And I can't take care of you anymore. And the father is a deadbeat father. He has not been there anyways. So him saying that is even more of a spit in the face to this kid. So I don't really understand this father dynamic. It's not the best. But he can instantly he comes home, he's like, where you been? You've been driving. I can smell it on you. I can smell the drive. It's like sweat and shame and rubber tire burning. I
I
can
smell
it
those
on you.
hookers on you.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
Street
stank of
hookers.
road hose.
Did you find
Road hose.
Did you find the other American-esque woman in your class? I can smell her on you. So yeah, he basically he's fighting with his father, and he goes to school, and he's got to stand up for himself a little bit, and that's where Han's like, "You owe me." He comes to the school, and now this is like Han is like Matthew McConaughey in
Dazed and Confused.
sitting. He's like the 30-year-old that sits in front of the school and waits for the kids to come out and picks them up.
It's
He
it's
looks
hard.
younger than the main guy, Sean.
I don't think so.
I think so. Like, I feel like
I
Han
think
has
we're-
to been like in his 20s, where this guy was like, you know,
I didn't
40.
look up. I didn't look up Han's age, but I know that Sean is 24 in real life. He's playing a 17-year-old, and so he picks up Sean, and he tells him, he's like, "I'll get your money for you," and he goes, "You're acting like that's a question. Of course, you're going to get my money." So he drives him to a location, which is a bathhouse, and tells him to go in there and get his money. Now, I don't really know what he said to him to tell him which guy is the guy who owes him money, but of course he walks up to E. Honda from Street Fighter, which is
Oh my
bathing,
God.
and he's got a giant bear tattoo, and this guy is fucking huge, if you don't get my Street Fighter reference. And he gets out, and basically it's the comical thing where he keeps throwing Sean out. But the cool thing about Sean is he keeps getting back up and going right back in to get thrown out again. So Han is like, I think I chose the right guy.
Han was 34 when this movie was filmed.
I knew it. I said
No
30-year-old.
way. He looks so young.
So the guy does throw Han his money. He throws him a wad of cash because sweaty guys in bathhouses always have wads of cash on their armpits or whatever it is.
Well, I mean, that's a kind of theme for Fast and Furious.
That's
you just
true.
have like
Wadded
a roll
money.
of money, just
Yes.
like, you know, what did they call it? Bricks or whatever? Like a stack? I don't know.
Stacks.
I don't know what they call it. I'm not part of the cool crowd.
A lot of stacks coming our way. So yeah, basically Han and him like team up, and I don't know if I'm moving too quick here, but I think he gives Sean a car. Just he basically says, if you're gonna work for me, you got to look good.
Yeah, I think that's the next scene. It works right into it though.
Yeah.
Yeah, they went
Because-
into like some garage or
I'm
something.
sorry. Does anyone else feel like, okay, they're just handing this idiot nobody even knows. They're just handing him cars left and right. Souped up, expensive cars. I don't know shit about you. You just wandered in town from Alabama and
California.
whatever, okay? And I'm gonna give you 2 expensive cars to crash because that's exactly what he fucking does.
Pretty
I would
much.
kill this guy.
Pretty much.
Like who does these things? It's so stupid.
It turns out that Han works with the Yakuza guy which is DK. And they have a partnership, and they basically are running whatever illegal things they're doing. We're not specifically told because we're not really set up to think Han is a bad guy, but he seems like they're just selling things. But it's very hush hush on what the hell these two people are doing.
Nobody knows what they're doing. Nobody
Yeah.
knows.
Yeah, we never found out.
Yeah, they don't seem to tell you any illegal doing. It's just like they're getting some kind of hot goods. We don't know how. We never find out about that. Bow Wow's running that merchandise for him, and he's got Sean working for him doing deliveries or pickups or whatever. That's what he's gave him a car for. He's like, well, if you're gonna work for me, you gotta look good. You gotta have a nice car. So Sean takes that chance with this new car to basically learn how to drift, and that includes him trashing the shit at his brand new car over and over at the fish dock.
And the old men just be like,
and he's
that's
got
so funny. They don't
Yeah.
know how to drift.
He's got a group of friends who don't have dialogue.
No.
They all are there constantly as like extras, but they have no dialogue. They're always with him. They're supportive. You got like a Charlie Brown guy, a big fat little Charlie Brown dude. You got an Asian guy and a girl, and this girl's very caring about him. She's always grabbing him and touching him when he's hurt, and he don't want her. He's only got eyes for Neela, because Neela is DK's girl. And they're going to keep running into each other. In fact, in one of the next scenes, Bow Wow is getting beat up on the rooftop by Motorola. Is that his name?
It's Miyamoto's henchman.
No, DK's henchman is Miyamoto, right?
But the blonde guy, what was his
You
name?
said Motorola's henchman? No, it's DK's guy.
Yeah, it's DK.
Miyamoto is DK.
What?
No.
No,
No.
Miyamoto.
No.
Miyamoto is the one that has the
DK
orange
is
hair.
the head of that organization, and Motorola. Am I saying his name wrong? It's not
Mi-
Motorola.
Miyamoto?
Miyamoto. I don't even know what his name is.
Hello Moto?
Yeah, they all look like they stepped out of an anime, and they're beating Bow Wow up because he gave him bad goods or something. It's an iPod, and everybody comes and grabs Sean. We don't even know these people, why they're friends, but he's like, hey, he's getting beat up. Twink's getting beat up, so he runs upstairs. Someone's beating up Kid Ray.
Guy's beating up Kid Ray.
Thank you. So they run upstairs, and this makes Sean, of course, because he's a decent dude, he steps in between them and basically takes the fight. And this guy gets face to face with him. Again, this aggro face to face thing. And he gives him his iPod. And he says, hey, man, I got good tunes. I got the best tunes on my iPod. Take it.
Does he say that? He says, here, just take the
He says,
iPod.
I got all the stuff you want to listen to.
It's
I
a
got
bit extra.
got Kid Rock. I got Hooba Stank. I got
Limp Bizkit.
Snot. I got.
I got the best hits of Biscuit.
Have you heard Britney Spears' new album?
Oh my god.
I
So
did it again.
yep. So he gives him his iPod, but this makes Bow Wow pissed off. Does this come back? Does this matter? No.
No.
But it does make Neela come up there and say, it's hard being the good guy, right? And he's like, yeah. He's like, I forgot. There's a scene before this where he asks her, who are you, virtually?
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, are you an army brat? I know you. And he basically says all this stuff, and she's like, you're wrong. That's not me at all. So here, after Bow Wow was pissed off and walked off, and everybody left, they're alone on the rooftop, and he says, I'm sorry that I basically stepped into your life, but I'm going to continue to step into your life.
Yeah.
And this mirrors the first scene of the movie where he didn't help the kid getting bullied at school.
That's true.
So we're supposed to establish a change of character. Not sure what the change is, but it's for the better.
Yes, and it is set up and payoff. At least they're setting this up. This character and this girl is a little different than the other girl that he went to town for in the first part. Basically here he's like continues because she keeps talking to him. Because guys, we're all idiots, and if a girl just says anything to us or touches our hand, we're just done. That's it.
The girl,
We're idiots.
the girl from the first movie just wanted attention.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously the same situation mirrors again in the second part of the movie. And she's going to stick around. She wasn't just about the fight. She actually sees something in him.
Yeah,
And-
they keep showing that she sees him trying, she sees him becoming a better guy. She also is into him drifting because he's getting better. And in fact, we see a montage of him drifting against Motorola, and I know that's not his name, but they're just calling him that from now on. Oh, it was Maury Povich, he said. Maury Povich. And Maury Povich gets beat, and he's the one that was beaten on Bow Wow. So he literally has a meltdown in his car, punching his car. And everybody, and then this is where...
He just found out he's the father.
Maury Povich joke.
That was a little too long, that one.
I thought it was funny, Jeff. I'm trying to hold on by a thread over here, just thinking about the montage and how stupid the montage was. So Han's supposed to be showing him how to drift. Han literally teaches him nothing. All
Yeah,
you see
that's
is
true.
is Han
Again.
sitting in the passenger side in the car while he's banging into shit. Okay, there's
He
nothing.
keeps saying again. That's
Again,
all his
yeah,
style
and
is.
again,
And he's
and
eating.
again, and again, and again. Like, it's terrible.
I wish there was a scene where she actually teaches him how to drift.
Yes.
And I didn't mean draft bitch, I meant the drift bitch.
I like
Yeah,
that
bitch.
better.
She
I like
can
draft
drift
bitch.
with one pinky and looking at him.
We'll
We'll
get
see
to
that later on, but
That's
I'm just
amazing.
saying, like,
That was
holy
pretty-
cow.
It was actually
I
a
wish
pretty
there
cool
was a scene, like a 30-minute montage of her teaching him the ropes.
30 minutes.
I mean, no, but he
It'd be
doesn't
amazing.
learn
It's a
anything.
long montage.
Yeah, we can't have 30 minutes, Gary. I'll die. Okay.
Oh my god.
I
Think
would
Rock
never
the
make
two.
it through.
So he's like beating all these guys, and he's getting up there, and that's getting DK pissed off because Han is basically taking their cars, I guess, right? I think they keep slapping, or is it money that they're playing for? Because he keeps slapping money into Han's hand.
No, there's a scene which him and DK say, he goes like, oh, when are you going to race me? He goes, oh, I'll race you for such and such a car. He goes, well, whenever you want to put up this other car. So
Okay.
it shows that they're racing for whatever car I guess they're talking about. It's supposed to refer to that.
Yeah, we get a lot of like shots of like the clubs that Han hangs out, and Bow Wow's always there, so that's how you start establishing that they're all working together. And they're always in these backroom clubs, and there's like 4 back rooms, and one of the
All
back rooms...
full of women.
Yeah, always women, and they're always ready to just have sex, but none of those matter because it's Neela.
I know. She's not even the prettiest one in the room.
She
Like,
got an
come on.
accent though. That's it.
I don't
So
know.
it
Race
turns out
those.
one of these rooms that you go into the back room after 3 of the nightclubs you pass by, one of those nightclubs leads to a garage where everybody's sitting in bed boxes in the
Like
middle of a garage.
Little bed pods.
So they give one of those bed pods to Sean because Sean basically, his father said, if you keep it up, you're going to be on your own. He just leaves.
Yeah.
And he goes and stays with Han, and it's like more of that. But things progress a little bit more as Neela starts hanging out with him a little bit. And that's one of the scenes where Gary was just talking about, where he basically writes to her in class and says, hey, when are we going to go drifting? When am I going to see you drift? And she says, you haven't asked. So then they go drifting together. And she does, I don't know what you
It was
call
the
this one.
prettiest drift.
She has like 4 cars drifting in sync on a
I
mountain.
can't.
It was like synchronized drifting.
But the best part is it's by moonlight. It's so romantic.
Very,
Oh my God.
And they're
I can't.
talking like there's no problem as these cars are jerking back and forth.
Their heads don't even move.
They're basically
You remember the romantic scene in Happy Gilmore when they ice skate?
yes.
Lights go off. Exact same thing.
Yes. And I was laughing because I noticed the moonlight was in the trees, and then when they zoomed up, there was no moon. There was just light in the trees. I was like, what the fuck was that? Is this moonlight or what?
No.
So, yeah, this is romantic, though. This is what this movie... And I gotta say, these 2 characters never kiss.
No.
No, I don't feel the romance between the two of them at all.
He goes to war with the Yakuza over
The
this girl.
only kiss we actually saw was Han kissing these other girls in the nightclub.
Oh, yeah, I guess that's true. We also get a scene where Han drifts around the 2 girls for a while, and
Oh, and it was a perfect
Like ring,
circle.
yeah.
It was so cool.
and they hand their number over, and does that matter?
That-
And
that's,
also, as we go on with this franchise, that will make no sense.
No.
But we'll see. You'll see about that later on.
Right. Sean and Han have this conversation that says, like, he's like, well, why don't you drift? Or why don't you race? It's like, well, I don't race for the notoriety type thing.
You
he's
wanted
like,
to
well,
do the
he goes,
voice. I heard
What
it.
are you racing for? And then we see this, he's drifting around these girls in this car
Yeah.
just to get a number.
Just to get...
Just to get some poutine.
Well, I'm going quick on this, so if anybody wants to add any of what happens in this plot that I've skipped, because usually Jeff is telling me I skipped a lot, and I know I have, because
I
there's a
feel
lot
like-
of stuff happens in this,
I feel like we're creating.
but it doesn't
plot.
really matter.
Yeah, I don't think we've missed anything.
No, we haven't
Okay.
missed anything.
Basically, what occurs here is that Sonny
Sonny
Chiba
Chiba.
shows up, and now legendary martial arts master Sonny Chiba shows up in the Moonwalker white full wall Michael Jackson Moonwalker outfit.
Yeah.
And he shows up, and he's instantly a badass, and it turns out that DK is his
Nephew.
nephew. And he comes into his office and tells him, your partner is stealing money from you,
Which means Han.
which means Han. And so this leads DK to go on a rampage to Han's place and send all of his goons there. And then this all comes together in a giant car drifting race.
Oh, it's so cool.
On a mountain, so they can just slide right off.
No,
it's
not
not the mountain, it's the
yet.
streets.
This is like on the streets,
skipping
and, like
to the end.
seeing
We're
the
still on the
people.
streets?
Yes, yes.
Oh god, it's
This
all
was
running
a
together.
really cool
Neela
thing.
has been hanging out with
Sean.
Sean. She's like full on with Sean. I think she was actually thrown out of the Yakuza because she was hanging out with him. And I think there was a scene where DK got in her face and was like, "You're and me are the same," and all that. And she basically ran away and stayed with Han with Sean in the office.
And he did. I'm sorry to interrupt, but the DK did tell her that his mom was on tour, or she was traveling around as something, and her uncle helped to rescue her mother.
Well,
Oh,
no,
that's
her-
right.
and you're
That's
nothing
why-
without me and my uncle and my family.
This is why Neela is hanging out with the Yakuza and attached to DK, because basically she feels like she's owned by them.
She said her mom died.
Yeah, but
Yes.
like her mom, like was I'm guessing a prostitute, and like yeah, and they said that she would have been out on the streets just like her.
Did she say a harlot or harlot? I don't know what she said.
Yeah, how?
Everybody,
Maybe she was a draft bitch.
everyone
She's a draft bitch.
is a road hoe.
Talking of the Roto.
No, she said she comes from, her mom came from Australia, and then leading into, so it's we understand, she's an immigrant, so whatever, but her and DK have this, when he says the conversation, that she's basically turning tricks. And so she had to get away from her mother, and I guess maybe her mother, that's how her mother died, and that's how she got in with the Yakuza.
Okay. Well, that leads, when they go on the run, Han jumps in his own car, and Neela and Sean jump in one car together, and they get chased by Maury Povich and DK. And they go into a crazy race where they actually drift into the middle
I
of
don't
time.
even
Like
know
they're
how they got out of the
like,
garage because the doors
Tokyo Square.
closed. I still
Yeah,
I
they're-
still don't understand that part.
They're in Tokyo, just drifting around, but
But they drift right into a crowd. It's amazing. They actually split perfectly for them to drift into it.
That was the coolest scene.
somebody pointed out that if they had just driven straight, they would have got away faster.
Of course. They just have to double down on the drifting. So this leads Han into a car crash where DK smashes into Han's car. Han flips over and it lands on its its hood, and it leaks gasoline and it explodes. And Han is
Crazy.
dead.
Okay.
So is Han a fan favorite because he never shows up again? Is
Yeah.
that what I've learned?
Heads up.
Jesus.
This is in 2013. So
So no
We-
time
we had
portal or
flip
anything?
We had flip phones in 2013.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's exactly right. So in 2013, Han is blown up. And this leads our main characters to basically confront DK, but DK takes Neela by gunpoint. And in front of Sean's house, where his father also puts a gun to DK's head. And he's like, well, Neela comes with me or not.
Gary's like pointing finger guns at everybody for no reason.
Or we all die. Like, basically everybody gets killed, And so they let Neela's like, no, I'm going to go with DK. So she goes back and she goes with the Yakuza. Well, Sean comes up with an idea. Hey, what if we go back to Han's place and see if there's any cars left? I have an idea. We're gonna do a drift off.
You're
What?
forgetting the part where Twinkie shows up with the money that they stolen from the Yakuza.
Oh, that's
And-
right.
I guess
and
that
then
does
they
happen
got him.
first.
Yeah,
And then,
But it doesn't matter. This is Twink's only plot is to show up just to push the plot along.
Correct.
So he gives him a bag of money and says, "What? You want to say something?"
But then he approaches the Yakuza and says,
Well, I was getting there just then. Yeah, he gives him the bag of money, and he says, and he goes to the Yakuza, and he gives Sonny Chiba the money, and he says, in front of like 100, they just could kill him. It does not. This doesn't need to happen. This next part because they could just shoot Sean and it'd be over with. But Sonny Chiba hears him out, he takes the money, and he says, "Hey, we're gonna have a race off. We're gonna have a race. We're gonna drift off." And he's like,
Drift out.
"For my freedom." And Sonny Chiba's like, "You know what? I ain't got any other shit to do, so we might as well drift off." So
He likes the punishment scenario where his nephew has been causing him trouble.
yeah,
And you know what? Yeah, let him stand up for himself. He likes that.
that's exactly what's happening.
And plus, Sean could have taken the money. Bow Wow gave him it. He could have taken it and run, and that's what I thought was happening. Where he was going to head right to the airport, take a flight back to the United States.
You thought that was gonna happen?
I know that wasn't going to happen, but there's a scene where you see him walking as if he's headed for the nearest airport.
Yeah.
And then instead he shows up, in this hotel lobby or wherever they're at. But I'm like,
bar.
okay, a change of character. He chooses it, and again, the character was never this despicable in the first place. But they keep showing there's like apparently a character arc, a turn where look, he's gonna stand up for his pride still, and he's gonna give back the money. And all he wants is to win the honor,
Yeah.
of everyone that he's been destroying Tokyo with.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Pretty
think that
much.
was like
I mean,
an
it-
over explanation.
No, he's
Yeah,
actually
but
right.
it's-
That's
I mean,
exactly what's
true.
happening here.
It is, but I feel like it was just
He's
don't
stand-
finger gun me.
He's standing up for Han because Han basically stood up
Okay.
for him.
Yes.
I-
And it's
okay,
basically
I
he's
get
trying,
it.
he's trying to give back to him. Han didn't either. He didn't really ask for the money back for the car. He let him work it off. Saw like we said earlier. He saw something in him. It's like he became, as we say in this franchise, family. And of course, he had to try to get back to him and pay his respects.
Yeah. And so
Alright.
he does the right thing. He goes to do this thing. He can die. Basically, he puts himself in jeopardy here. But Sonny Chiba is like, okay. Because he's like, look, sir, we both caused you a lot of grief. So let's finish this. But let's do this like car, I don't know, drivers. He should like men, but it's like drivers. And we're going to have a drive off. And he's like, you know what? Let's do it. But DK gets to pick where it is. And it's on DK's mountain. Donkey Kong Mountain.
And
barrels are rolling and everything.
And Sean has finally evolved into a man who lives 10 seconds at a time.
It's true. Well, the plot here is they go back to Han's garage. They find his old car in the back smashed up, but the engine's perfect. And he knows that his father's trying to fix up his old, Mustang?
Mustang.
Yeah.
And his old Mustang that was gutted for parts on the docks. I think like Hoodlums gutted his car and left it for scrap. And he took it home. He's trying to fix it up. And this made Sean go, hey, what if I take his car and I put the engine in it?
And his dad let him do it.
Yep. His dad's okay with it, and he's not in the movie again.
Yeah, but his dad, disciplined him and threw him out basically
Yes.
because he was driving.
But he also stuck up for him and put the gun against him. And he saw what was happening, and he saw that he was trying to help this girl, and he basically stood up.
It's like a
for him.
Mr. Miyagi moment when he sees that, Daniel really does need to be trained for
Yes.
the tournament.
But he should be bigger in this last scenes, but he's not.
I just don't know how long it took them to make this car.
That's
Doesn't
my
this
question.
take like a long time? I don't know anything about cars, but I feel
They
like
give
it
them a
takes
week?
like I don't know.
Like they go,
like,
hey, we're gonna be on DK Mountain a week.
I don't.
It's
It's like a
weird.
day or something.
It feels like a day.
I mean, they gave him a montage.
There's
you
a
know?
montage. The car
It's
ends up being
important.
gorgeous. Like I think the car looked amazing.
Yeah, but then they were like testing the car and like, oh, not this part. Let's try another part. Oh, that's not too.
Yeah.
That's not right.
Hey, Twink, we got another adjustment.
Aaron, that sounds like some homework you can do for next week. How long does it take
How long does it take to build a car?
from scratch?
I feel like it takes a really long time.
Like
Fun
5
fact
hours?
with Aaron. Fun
Yes.
facts with Aaron. It takes a really long time to fix cars. So, yeah, this is going down. They got this beautiful Mustang all souped up. They're ready at DK Mountain. and the drift off happens. And it's another cool thing, but this one is more CG. They're doing it at night again, and there's a lot of like mountainside stuff. And the movie does those transition shots where they're flowing through things, but in this one they're flowing through the different levels of the mountain into the trees. It doesn't look bad. Yeah, it doesn't look bad. Oh, and that's true too. All of the people around the roads have their cell phones out, and somehow everybody's watching it.
I have no idea
I don't know
who
what's happening
recorded
there.
that. Like,
And they're not in every turn.
no.
So yeah, they're all the way down past the trees, so it doesn't really make sense. Well, anyways, fun fact, this might be a big shock, but Sean wins.
Yeah.
It actually wins because DK flies off the mountain and lands in front of him, and he drives around him, and he wins. And he drifts past
DK
him.
could have won
Yeah,
if he landed
DK
right.
was doing pretty damn good, but
Yeah.
he kept getting really selfish. He kept looking ahead, looking
Yeah.
back, and he kept crashing because of it.
Never drift angry.
Never.
Got it.
Angry.
It works sort of like the Force.
Yep.
You could say he drifted off.
Oh my.
So Sonny Chiba walks up to Sean and says, "You won your freedom." And he looks at Neela and he says it too. You guys have won your freedom. And he walks off and smiles. And that's great. Everything's great. The next scene, Neela and Sean are at the garage rave party with the cars. Everybody's happy again. Although Yakuza are in town, you think that this ain't going to end. This guy's still got his pride hurt. How the fuck would we still not come after him? But he doesn't. They're having a great time. Everybody's happy. Except Bow Wow comes up to Sean and says, "Hey, there's a new racer in town. I heard he's beating everybody, even in North America. He's amazing. He says he was friends with Han and he went to race you." And he's like, "Well, I don't want to race anybody else right now." And he says he's Han's family. And he says, "All right then." So he goes over, lines up, and who is it but Vin Diesel himself?
I think that was Han's cousin, right?
No.
No.
To me, that was the best part of the movie.
So Vin Diesel shows up in this movie, and here's the fun fact behind the scenes. The movie did terrible in test screenings.
I wonder
So
why.
they said, we need to put somebody back in this movie from the franchise so people can recognize what this is. So they asked Vin Diesel. He said, "The only way I'll come back is if you give me the rights to my favorite character, Riddick. I'll do the movie if you give me the rights to my character, Riddick." And they did.
Well, they knew that they needed him, obviously. They
And-
need him.
Last week I made the mistake saying I saw Triple X and I really liked it. I've never seen Triple X. It was actually the Chronicles of Riddick.
Well, Chronicles of Riddick is good.
That's the one I saw, and I know that one was really good. I
Pitch
enjoyed
Black,
that.
Pitch Black, and Chronicles of Riddick are good movies.
I've never seen Triple X, so that's why. If you saw me hyping it, please don't watch it if it's too
Please
late.
disregard the last
But the
podcast.
Chronicles of Riddick, I really like that.
Yes, I agree. But have you seen the third one that he made on his own after he got the rights to this? It is shit. It is the exact same movie as the first movie, Pitch Black, and it is terrible.
What's that
So,
one called?
Riddick.
That's just Riddick?
Yep.
Is that the one on the prison planet?
No. There's no Prison Planet one.
Well, the person that asked me to watch this movie, I go, "Oh, it's great. Let me watch 2 and 3 or whatever." She's like, "Don't. Just watch this. That's fine."
What do you mean? Which
With
one?
Riddick, just watch the first one, and then you don't need to watch.
Well, the
any
first one's
movies.
not Chronicles of Riddick.
Oh, is it?
That's the second one.
Okay. I have no idea.
Yeah, Riddick. The first one's called Pitch Black.
Yeah, never seen that one. So I saw the second one then.
Okay, they're actually pretty good. The first one's like a horror movie, and the second one's like a sci-fi epic. The third one's not good. And he made this movie. He basically he did this cameo to have the rights to an entire franchise. That's pretty amazing. What's happening? What do you want to say?
No, just had to pee.
Oh, he has to pee. I do believe this boy has to pee. He drank him
Jeff,
about
sneak
15
out,
Dr.
man.
Peppers.
Sneak out.
Any
Go
circumstance.
that way.
Any circumstance.
Jeff's just trying to go to the bathroom.
Well, I'm going to edit this out, so whatever you just said, I can't hear because I'm so scared about Jeff
Thanks, Jeff.
going near
Thanks,
this.
Jeff.
I say next week you just
Just put him in the
he's just in the
bathroom.
bathroom the whole time.
He
Just
can
give him
peek
a
his head
little
out.
lapel mic.
We've done that already.
Can you just be upstairs?
Oh my god.
We tried that one night.
that one night.
It was a total
Um,
fail.
So
He's giggling like a little schoolgirl in there.
I think I might have caught that on Mike. So
I mean,
Yes, you did.
you have to keep it.
Yeah, that was funny.
So,
I mean,
so before the interruption, the last thing I said about Riddick, after seeing that movie, I felt Vin Diesel, he's okay. Then I learned later, no, he's not okay.
Vin Diesel's career.
that's just like the fucking toilet is
I
flushing.
heard the toilet flushing.
And he
I'm
was
trying to
cute.
wait now.
Oh, Jesus.
I thought he was gonna take a dump, so he was gonna be in there for a bit, but he's back.
Nah, he's back.
So yeah, what was that about Chronicles of Riddick? What happened?
I said, due to that movie,
Yeah.
I was like impressed by Vin Diesel. I go, I enjoy him
Yes,
as a main actor.
I did back
And
then
then
too.
I thought he was okay, and then
How do you feel about him now?
I don't. I feel if I see him in the movie, I'm not gonna want to watch it.
I'm pretty much on board with you. I like it for a whole new reason. We're gonna get into that the more we watch this franchise because it really comes out. I don't understand this, but we'll get into it in the next movies because we haven't actually seen the next one. Have you, Gary?
I don't.
I don't think I've seen it.
Is it one? You guys who've seen it? Ones with tunnels
It's tunnels.
through Mexico, United States, something.
That's 4.
Okay, so I've seen
I don't
some
remember
bits and
four.
pieces
I
of
have
it,
not seen it, but I've heard
and
that.
something about him. This is all I remember. Him coming out of jail.
Don't tell
on the
me.
first-
We don't need.
no, I don't know if this is true or not. And him looking for someone. That's it. That's all I remember. I don't know if it's true.
I don't
So
remember
there's a
4 at
person,
all.
and there's plot.
So
And the plot
he
is
is
looking
sort
for
of
somebody.
tall.
Yeah.
He has hair.
Does he have a shirt?
And he wears t-shirts sometimes.
Sometimes. What they don't get that reference.
Gary's like
don't get
deer in
that
the
reference.
headlights. It's from Can't Hardly Wait. Right?
I can't look you in the eye, so
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, no.
We're gonna have
Can't
to
look
drift.
me in the eye?
If you look her in the eyes, I'm gonna have to drift against you, man, and that shit's not gonna go well for either one of us.
Yeah, right now.
In our two kinds of cars that we have, I don't think it's gonna be good.
So how much
So,
did
yeah.
Vin Diesel actually get paid for that tiny little second?
I just said he got an entire movie franchise back to him.
But how much is that worth?
If movies are successful, he could have made an entire franchise. He actually made an animated movie. He made a live action movie that bombed. And I think he might have done some video game stuff because he was extremely into video games at the time.
I
And they did a
remember video
very
games.
good video game called Butcher Bay. That's actually Chronicles of Riddick Butcher Bay. It's actually great. So I don't know if he got rights to that back in the day too, but if he did, he made some money off of that deal. And probably more than he would have got just from a cameo, I would think. But this also worked in his favor because the franchise is his again. Because now people know that Toretto is in the franchise again and he's back. They're going to come and watch the next one if they do more.
So you're saying after that first movie, he's gone for the second, gone for the third, and the fans demanded he come back to the franchise.
They didn't demand it, but they didn't know what to do to make people come back to the movie theater. So all they did was talk about he's back. He's going to be in it, and there was like buzz. So I think people that went and like the first one came back for the third, but it wasn't enough. And how the fourth one came about, that's a whole nother story for next week because I don't know how this movie spawned more movies. I really don't because this one bombed at the theater.
And next week we should look at the gross of all these movies.
It's $3 billion.
This movie?
This franchise.
Oh no, I meant like each individual movie.
Oh, okay. I'll do that next time.
Just
okay.
just to see how they're
This is the
moving
lowest
along.
of the franchise. As we go along, they get high, really high. I actually think one of these movies is in the top 5 of all time.
Probably Fast Five,
No, I think it's one of the last
a
ones.
7. No,
Either 9 or 8.
okay. Oh,
Wow.
We're just
I mean,
guessing
there's
numbers.
yeah, you are guessing numbers. There's a lot of numbers.
So that's the movie. The movie ends on that cliffhanger of them about to drive, and Finn.
Finn,
And I enjoyed it.
I did too.
Even though it has a lot of problems, and even though it's like stupid, it's a straightforward movie that it's fun.
I mean, how
don't
can you
hate
say
it.
you enjoyed it? It's with all the things that you said were wrong with it. 1,000,001 things were wrong with it, and it was stupid.
So was the last one. Same thing. Same problems. Same stupid stuff. The bad guy was bad in the
I mean,
last
the
one.
characters were better in the last one.
Tyrese.
Yeah, he was better than all the characters combined in this
I mean, I
one.
guess the second one did have a wet Eva Mendes, so I mean, I guess.
And
You
we
know what?
are going to agree on that.
Don't look me in the eye.
Wow.
Am I going to drift against you now?
Uh-oh.
I'll be drifting out the door with my suitcase.
Whoa.
Burn.
Mommy, Daddy, please don't fight. I want to come back to that movie night.
But
Please.
Joe, I'm hungry.
You hungry?
Hungry.
Hungry for all this?
Well,
Wow.
I was saying
I
you're
really
going
feel
to
like we
see
need to
Joe
leave
all of a
now.
sudden have a, all of a sudden she has extra Toyo tires.
that's
in the
true. Yeah.
garage,
If I just see a bunch of
stacked
tires
full
laying
of
around,
them. You know what she's secretly doing.
she's like, she drives up and she's like revving it. Oh, we didn't talk about one funny ass thing in the garage. There was a motorcycle with not.
With Nas?
Nas?
Not,
I
not.
mean, we were told that we were saying it wrong.
Yeah, what was it?
It's
Nas.
wrong.
Nas.
So it's Nas.
The Nas.
Nas.
But we were laughing. That thing would explode. I would
Yeah.
love to see someone drive that.
What video game is that from?
Is that in a video game?
Is that in GTA like 5 where you have
Or
that
Just
bike with the
Cause.
engine on it?
Just
Yeah, Just
Cause.
Cause.
How many times did they use the Nas in this movie?
Actually, not
Once.
as much.
Just
yeah.
one time. And it was like when they were like it was Han that was driving and he hit the Nas
Yeah,
button
there's a
and that
whole
was it.
scene where you can drive. The cops won't come after you if you're driving at a certain speed because they can't
Yeah.
catch up. Because
And
the
he
car's
was
stuck.
going 197 kilometers.
197.
Yeah. I don't know what that is in miles, but kilometers.
Like 160 or 150?
That's what I was gonna say.
It's about 120.
Really?
Dang.
Okay. I was way
I
off.
thought you were a teacher.
All
I
right.
don't have it memorized.
The ending of this movie just goes to show you that the franchise does need Vin. That's all I'm going to say.
I disagree. I think me and Gary both said it feels like Dom takes out the movie. And as we get forward, I think that's 100%
You
shown.
gave the guy a whole franchise just for a 2-second cameo, so yeah, you need him in your movies.
Because some people just love sleeveless arms, Joe.
You know what?
I mean, that's it. All right,
Well,
we're going
I'll
around
take
the room. Jeff, score 1 out of 10. What is this movie getting?
A 5.
Aaron,
I give it a 5.7.
you're gonna go on a point scale. You gotta do one of the. You gotta do a point. You gotta say no points, 5 or a 6.
What did you give the movie last week?
I gave that
A 6.
6. Yeah, because like I want to give it a 6 as well, but I felt like number 2 was better. So maybe I should change my score for number 2 to 7.
Oh,
But I can't.
They
I
could be
know.
on equal footing.
I get, you know what? They are completely different. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. It was like an anime. I thought it was really, really cool.
And I'm not even gonna ask Joe. I'm just guessing a 2.
Yep, you said it.
Oh my god,
Wow.
that's ridiculous.
No, it's not. This
It's
movie
not
was
as
absolutely
this
ridiculous.
not as bad
movie
as the
was-
first one.
no.
You're telling me this is as good as Theodore Rex?
I gave Theodore Rex a 1.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. One step above
Yeah,
Theodore
this
Rex.
movie was trash. There was nothing good about this movie.
I disagree. All right, Gary.
I gave Fast and Furious a 3. I gave Too Fast, Too Furious a 7.
I think
This-
you gave it a 6.
No, I'm definitely sure 7 and 9.
I wrote it down. Here, let's look it up.
So in any circumstance, I feel this movie is in the middle of everything.
Yeah.
And I feel it deserves a 5. And I feel it's a good basis whether the future sequels are better than this or worse than this. So I keep it at a 5. Yeah, I
You
did
did give
have
it a
7,
7.
right?
Yeah,
So
you
3,
gave it a
5,
7.
7. And
Wow.
I feel last week's movie was much more entertaining than this movie. And the 7, I think, reflects it. And that's why I would agree with Erin if she changed that last week, her score last week to 7. Because when you compare these two movies, like, it's definitely at least 2 higher than it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't hate it as much as Joe.
Yeah.
I still don't think it's the best one or better than any of the like last week. I'd have to go with a 4. Wow. I would just have to go with a 4. It's not 3 worthy.
What'd you give it, Scott?
This is tough. I don't think it's bad. I think that it doesn't even feel mediocre. I enjoyed myself watching it.
Yeah.
I think it's a 6.
Oh my god, I can't. I'm leaving my own house.
Oh my gosh.
I hate you all.
A 4 and a 2
Okay.
are insane.
Can you please just look at this, like, just be objective about this.
I am.
The plot is free. There's no plot. It's so
The
stupid.
first one had no plot. I had no.
It had more of a
I
plot
did
than
not
this.
enjoy the first one.
I hated these characters. I hated them all.
There was so much more humor in the second one. That's why I had to give it.
That's
a
why it's
7.
the best.
This one's stopping it. That's stopping me from giving this one a 6. Just that it was so fun to sit there every scene, the jokes all the time, left and right. This one was straightforward, and so I give it a 5, and I'm more towards a 6 and a 4, obviously. But I just can't give it that 6, that fonted 6. What did you give it, a 2?
Oh, it's a 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe this is closer to a 5 than a 6, but I don't know. I didn't hate it. I kind of like this. I think this character's fun. I didn't mind him.
There's nothing.
I think the stunts are really good. I liked the practical stunt driving.
That's
more.
why it gets a 2, because of the stunt driving.
I also I'm impressed by the movie not feeling like it needed to do an Ocean's 11 twist. I feel like it didn't need to do any of that. It just needed to be like a typical car movie.
I love that the movie is grounded, and I can't wait for the sequels to follow in its footsteps.
Okay, that is perfect. That is a perfect thing. Yeah, I mean, look, talk me down. I don't think. I mean, 5 is probably right. I just don't think. I mean, if I'm going in the franchise order and as we watch them, I know that they're either going to get equally shitty or equally better because they're so fucking insane that I'm going to be laughing my ass off.
That's the thing. I love insane.
Then, if I'm going by that, then yeah, this is probably more mediocre in a 5. I just didn't hate it.
There's
I
insane
think
good,
I'll
and then
end
there's
it.
insane bad.
I think Gary and Jeff have talked me into a 5. I'm going to go with a 5.
Okay.
There's just certain plot points that just don't make sense.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that just...
There's
There's
no
a lot of stuff
plot.
that needs to be done here, like the love interest actually needs to be bigger and actually happen. They don't even fucking kiss.
She sucks.
Yeah, that was pointless.
She
Yeah.
sucks. There's no reason for her to be in this at all.
And she wasn't even like the prettiest girl either.
No, and she
Wow.
contributed nothing.
Dang.
She contributed nothing to the plot at all.
Does anybody have any last parting thoughts on this thing? Jared is very quiet tonight.
Yeah.
Jared is overly defending and still giving it a 5. Aaron is...
I mean,
I said
I had
4.
I had fun
I know.
with this movie.
You're
and
quiet, though.
I thought it was really cool.
I mean, I only gave it a 5, but I felt like you're completely depressed about this movie.
They seem, really depressed.
You guys will all change your tunes, all of you, if you just watch Pitch Meeting. Shout out to Pitch Meetings.
We touched on it a little bit last week too. Afterwards, saying it seems like something was missing.
In this
Yeah.
one?
Yeah, the first time I ever watched it, I was like, yeah, I mean, I guess I would probably score. I'm scoring it higher than what I was back then, just because, the more times you watch it and it's understanding the franchise, I'm looking at that. So yes, I'm giving it a little bit higher, but at the same time, I still feel like there's something missing from the movie.
Yeah, it's
like from the
plot,
franchise.
good plot, decent characters are missing. I mean, any sense of reality at all. And I like crazy.
Wait
I
a
like
minute.
freaking
Wait a minute.
bonkers.
You said sense of reality?
Yeah, this movie
Okay,
is ridiculous.
I don't think you remember anything that comes next.
No,
Because
I
reality
do.
is out the window in the next one.
Well, you know what? At least it knows what they are. This
I
one
don't
is like.
think it knows what it is. I think it's straight up batshit
You know what?
crazy from
I,
here on out.
I think it just comes down to
This is
I like
grounded,
our
at least.
I like our characters. I don't like these fuckers that they just bring in out of nowhere. I think it's the Han's introduction, like he's supposed to be this badass. He wasn't a badass. He didn't do anything.
Yeah, I
Fuck
don't.
Han.
We'll talk about that.
And
yeah.
if there's something missing in this movie, I would just say it's Paul Walker. That's the only thing I would
If-
feel it's
yeah.
missing, but not necessary.
Let me ask you: would Paul Walker being the lead make this a better movie?
Yes.
I mean,
If this was kind of like a prequel,
Or him going to Japan is like a part of like
Yes.
on a run,
like another undercover,
maybe
you know,
so anything.
Yep. 100.
I think the
Well,
whole script would have
yeah.
been changed, obviously.
100.
And I think
he wouldn't be in high school.
It could have been his flashback. It could have been like a prequel with him being younger. That could have been
Oh,
right,
that
and
would've
being a
been
trouble
cool.
kid,
a
back
Trouble
and
Kid
forth,
to
and
explain why he is the way he is with the
Yeah.
cars. That could have worked. Actually, that's a great idea. That would have been a better film.
is that who you miss, Jared? Paul Walker?
No, I think it would be a disgrace to put him in this because you're talking about somebody, and after one, in the beginning of one, you see him, he's like, he doesn't really know how to drive. Two, it's like he's an established driver. So I would assume going into three, if you put him in it, he would know somewhat how to drift, or at least know a little bit about it. Not basically starting from scratch. I think it would be a waste to put him in it.
Yeah, but even if he didn't, drift or whatever, he was just in the movie as a character of some sort, it would have brought more to the table than these stale, busted ass people like we don't care about. Like, honestly, I don't care about Mr. Alabama. I don't care about him. I don't care about her. There's nobody in this movie to care about at all. I don't care about Bow Wow. At least in the last one, I gave a shit about Paul Walker and Tyrese. I did. I cared.
That's only because they were in the other movies.
No, that's not true at all. I cared
And she
about
started
Tyrese.
with the best, the most insane she started at. So if she had never seen these older movies, she only started with like insanity, superhero level Marvel shit. And so I can imagine anybody going back in time, which Erin hasn't seen and she's just sitting here baffled. Yes, it becomes a Marvel superhero film. And it's odd to go back in time. All of this feels stale compared to what we're going to
You
get.
can't have two movies with, like your basic characters, your franchise people, and then just jump into this group of people who nobody give a shit about.
Without a doubt, that's a huge why the studio felt like they
stupid.
needed to do what they did. But I just don't think. I think if it was a standalone movie, I don't think it would be the worst.
Yeah, but it's not. So that's the thing. If you're going to call this the Fast and the Furious, it's like if they're going
But
to
you
call
can't
it
judge
Halloween
it off of the studio.
3, it shouldn't be called Halloween if it's Season of the Witch and there's no Michael Myers.
Well, now you're shitting on a lot of people who love that movie.
I'm not shitting on them. I'm just saying that if you're going to call this the Fast and the Furious, then maybe you should put some elements of that franchise in this movie. Like if you're going to have a Halloween movie and call it Halloween, or don't call it Halloween, just call it Season of the Witch.
No.
So I'm just telling you, and you understand this too, we both agree, if this is a Fast and the franchise movie, and
But this is before the franchise becomes what it is. You're judging it backwards. That's what I'm saying.
okay, well then why make this the third movie in the franchise and then just boot out all the...
But that's what I'm saying to you. You have to pretend to yourself that none of the other movies ever happened. That the studio is just trying to keep a franchise going because they own the rights, and they would lose it if they didn't make another movie.
I get that,
So
I just
they
don't have
had
to like
make
it.
another movie, and they just subtitled it and are like, "How do we make this fresh again? Let's just make a whole bunch of movies about cars." It's like Step Up. There's like 10 of those Step Up movies, or Bring It On. There's so many of them, and they just keep rebooting
yeah.
them. They're like, these aren't the same characters you love, but maybe you'll know they seem familiar. That movie does the same thing.
I mean, I guess you're right, but I don't have to like it, just like I didn't like Bring It On Cheermeister or whatever the fuck that shit
Oh
was.
my gosh, that one was a fun one.
And that was my pick.
Oh, it was
Hashtag cheer something.
cheer something, yeah.
Cheermageddon?
Cheermageddon.
I think that's the next one.
I
We
never
haven't seen
seen
that
the
one.
original Bring It On, so
It's good.
My favorite is the first one we saw together. That's my all-time favorite.
What? That was like Bring It On 10.
All right, so you guys are all done. It's hot.
Done.
We're sweaty.
I'm sweating.
We're sick of it. Some of us are pissed.
sick of
Some
it.
of us are pretty decently happy.
I'm still smiling. I thought it was fun.
It was fun.
Yeah.
We're moving on next week.
I'm the odd man out here, and that's
Yes,
fine.
you are.
We're moving on next week to part 4, where things are going to get even more questionable. And reality is going to start fading away very quickly. And I cannot wait to get to part 5, where I think all shit hits the fan. And it really becomes something special. But, Jeff?
Does Vin Diesel come back in this one, or is it a cameo? Do I have to wait and see?
The
If Vin
next one?
Diesel does not come back in part 4, I am out.
He's a main character.
Thank you.
At least I believe
Does he
is.
battle Saddam Hussein in the next movie?
Unfortunately, no. I
No.
think that's Frank Drebin. And I think Frank Drebin is fighting him. And
That's what I'm expecting for this next movie. Let's head out there.
let's get
go
wacky.
far.
Yeah, let's go crazy.
let him find a way to earn his way back into society. We need to take out Saddam Hussein.
Yes. That's the only way you can get on board with Toretto's and their tuna shop is kill Saddam Hussein. Because he ain't family. All right, family.
Yes.
Let's get out of here. All right, thanks, everybody. Have a good one.
Good night.
Good night.
Nice ride.
I won it from my friend Han a few years ago.
I didn't know he was into American muscle.
He was when he was rolling with me.
You know this ain't no 10-second race.
I got nothing but time.